Good morning, everyone. And first of all, it's so great to be here at the West Hill Community Center, a place of refuge from the streets, a place that children can gather safely. And that is what we want our kids to be doing, being kids, not victims of crimes on our streets. And so I want to thank our mayor for opening up this event and for her already established leadership in a city that I cherish. This is my hometown now. I've been here a long time, since about 2014. I think that counts me as a resident, right? But this city is extraordinary, and I believe in its potential, and I believe in its leaders. And I'm really excited to start off this year with a brand new mayor here as well. I also want to thank all the people who are part of Every Town and Moms Demand Action. Give them a round of applause. We have Angela Farrell Zavala. We'll be hearing from Angela in a couple of minutes. I know our district attorneys were recognized, but you're going to be, and I so appreciate our district attorneys, those who've traveled here from the city, and I know you've got a lot of work to do. I've been to many of your offices, and I am grateful for what you're doing every day, keeping us safe. But I wanted to give a special shout out to District Attorney Alvin Bragg. You'll be hearing from him, but he is one of the reasons we're here today. You know, he came up with an idea and said, why can't we do more on ghost guns? And I want to thank him as well as our other district attorneys. I see Darcel Clark here and Eric Gonzalez, and I thank them for being here, and our district attorney from Rensselaer County and others. It's really important. It's really important that we sit here together along with our elected leaders and to talk about the challenges we're facing. And I thank our leaders in the Assembly and the Senate who've been recognized. We're doing an extraordinary job in driving crime down. I want to say that over again. But shame on us if we rest on those laurels and say we're done. You'll never hear the words mission accomplished out of these lips, because there's always one more victim who should have been home, perhaps with his or her parents that night, or mom or dad home with the kids. And it's tragic to know that, as the mayor mentioned, there's real human stories behind these statistics. So when we talk about the fact that we're able to drive down crime, it is a good story. When I first became governor 4 years ago, the state was in a panic. I mean, we had seen extraordinary high rates of shootings and murders and car thefts and retail thefts, and it just seemed like the lid came off of everything. And you can trace it perhaps to the chaos of the pandemic. It was unsettling. It took people out of their norms, and kids were not in school. They were sitting at home, and we've had some cases where we had a young man radicalized at home and went and murdered 10 of my neighbors in Buffalo, and we've had the individual street crime. A lot was happening at that time, and I can't forget that. That's why I can't say we're okay right now. We're doing so much better, so much better. But you need to know how vigilant we're going to continue to be. Every one of us, from Moms Demand Action, they know that many of them are doing this in honor of a loved one, perhaps a child, or two. Imagine the tragedy of losing 2 children to gun violence. That's not supposed to happen in life, my friends. That's not supposed to happen. Yes, it may be part of God's plan, but it sure isn't our plan. These babies should be still with us today, and I grieve along with you, and all the moms who've harnessed their grief to be part of an organization that is driving change in a profound way. And I am forever grateful. And I only wish that there were other states that had the same force of energy, or perhaps there is that or energy, but not the elected officials listening to that and responding to that, because we should be able to eradicate gun violence across the entire nation. There is no way. There's no way that we should not have national laws that follow what we're doing here in the state of New York, even universal background checks. How shocking is it that the federal government cannot require that you ensure that everybody who is able to own a gun legally, and yes, there are laws that protect gun ownership, legal gun ownership, but they don't even have to be checked for a record to know that they've already have a history? My gosh. And I'm digressing 100%, because I remember Sandy Hook and the pressure on this nation to have universal background checks, and Congress didn't have the spine to get it done, and I find that unforgivable. But thank God we have the state of New York. Yes, indeed. And I'm going to continue focusing on public safety. I'm hardwired to do it. I can't stop it because I so believe in the mission. And I thank all of those who dedicate their lives, again, our district attorneys on the front lines and our police departments and the men and women in uniform on the streets every single day putting themselves in harm's way because they have this special belief that they're here to protect the lives of their neighbors. That is a powerful calling, those who are in law enforcement. I thank them every day. And I'll tell you, we're ready to do our part. At the state level, and I have champions right here in Albany, and all over the state who've joined us here today, who believe in the cause. And I'm here today to outline a part of our public safety agenda that I'll be officially announcing, more officially than today, in our State of the State. And I welcome you to come. It's going to be a good show. But the fastest growing gun safety threat in our nation is ghost guns. Think about that. No one even could have imagined this just a few years ago. What are you talking about, ghost guns? I mean, we don't believe in ghosts. What do you mean, ghost guns? But they're so real. But we'll take a quick look back on what we've done with our intentional efforts. And I said, as I mentioned, you know, we had a horrific time just 4 years ago. But we also had laws that need to be changed. And illegal guns are coming up through this iron pipeline, right? Remember this? Where are the guns coming from? Because we're not making them in New York. Definitely not making them here. But they're coming up from Georgia and Virginia, some coming up 95, others coming up I-81. People buying them at gun shows in Pennsylvania, loading up their trunks and coming up to Syracuse and heading over to Albany or Buffalo, or taking another turn and heading over to the Bronx. That's where they were coming from. So we had to focus on that. And I'm proud I have a superintendent of state police here, and I thank him and his effort, and my state police, they're exceptional. We said, what about involving the other states? Why don't they help us out? Because we can help them as well. So we have the first ever interstate gun interdiction task force, and we now have 12 states and 1 territory that are part of regular meetings and intelligence sharing where we're starting to squeeze that pipeline and shut it down. That's real progress. We also had silos in law enforcement, right? And I know about this. My husband was a United States attorney for a little while. My son's a prosecutor now. And like the federal government's over here, and the state's over here, and the county and the locals are also, but you're all trying to do the same thing, right? Same team? We brought it together. We have our crime analysis centers. We share information with everybody. We'll continue to bring state resources to you locally. I've been to so many local police departments all over the state, was just here in Albany, talking about license plate readers and drone technology and computers in the cars. We can provide that. It wasn't like I'm only taking care of the state police because I'm the state. No, we have a responsibility to each other because we're all working toward the same objective here. So we stopped all that crazy silos, but also we hunkered down. We decided to add more money to fighting gun violence. Yes, money was required. And also, you heard the mayor say, $3 billion. And I thank our legislators for investing $3 billion with me. We have the strongest gun laws in the nation. Now let's talk about a couple that I'm really proud of. The red flag law. Every state in America should pass the same red flag law that we have here in the state of New York because it is saving lives, keeping guns away from people who would do harm to themselves or to others. This is about preventing crime. I know many people are in the business of solving crimes, but how about preventing on the front end? And common sense legal reforms to keep repeat offenders off our streets and stop criminals from walking free on technicalities, which is what was happening. Unbelievable, especially when I saw that 90% of domestic violence cases were being dismissed on technicalities. You know what that's like when you're a victim of domestic violence? And you finally come forward and have the courage to tell a police officer, and then you have to tell a district attorney your story, and you're willing to go to the pain and open the wounds again that someone you loved and trusted betrayed you and hurt you or hurt your children. And then you find out It goes to court, it's like, oh, I'm sorry, we have to throw out the case because, we have this information right here, but we should have had the duplicate of it over here in a digital form and you didn't provide it, so we're throwing out your case. That's just cruelty. And we stopped that here in the state of New York. No longer will those cases be thrown out. And I thank our DAs for that. So, 11 crime analysis centers, I visited them, we're continuing to add technology, but guess what? And you heard, crime is down. In Albany, down 60%. It could have gone up 60%, my friends. To go down 60% just in the 4 years I've been in office, statewide shootings down 60% compared with 2021. I was just in New York City with the Commissioner of Police talking about extraordinary numbers for New York City even. New York State is the third safest state in America. Now it's third safest state in America. A large state like ours, I mean, we have a fraction of the crimes that cities much smaller than ours have. And it's extraordinary. But as I mentioned, these are real lives. And so I'm proud of that. But one area, there's a real threat out there. And you just have to say to the criminals who think that you're getting a handle on them, they're always a couple steps ahead, aren't they? These are clever people who spend a lot of time trying to figure out how to beat the system. So if we're going to keep getting guns off the streets in traditional ways, through the iron pipeline, they're creating the plastic pipeline in their own homes. That's what ghost guns are all about. And it's an emerging threat. It's getting worse. And if we don't do something now, it's going to undo all of our progress because we're getting the guns off the streets we can find, but those are almost impossible when they're being made in your kitchen, for God's sakes. These are homemade killing machines, 3D printed guns, and assembled with parts that you can just go buy online. You think there's a background check there? Heck no. No one's checking to make sure that you don't have a record, that you're not going to do harm, you're going to kill the person that you live with. And so they've become the latest weapon of choice for criminals who now can't buy a gun legally because we've taken all the good steps we have. We outlawed ghost guns way back when I first was governor, 2021. They're gone, right? Except they're not now. With an hour of free time and a 3D printer, anyone can turn a spool of plastic into an untraceable lethal weapon. And the scale is staggering. Every town, and I appreciate all the data collection they do for us, tracks 3D printer or 3D printed guns recoveries in 20 cities. They recently reported a 1,000% increase over the last 5 years. Let me be clear. We will not allow do-it-yourself gun traffickers to convert their homes into unsanctioned firearm factories. That's ending here in the state of New York. It's ending here. So, what I'm proposing, we will require all 3D printers sold in the state of New York to include software that blocks the production of guns and their components. You cannot sell one of those in the state of New York when we pass these laws. We'll also make it a crime to sell or distribute the digital instructions for making a 3D printed gun as well. And this law will strengthen criminal penalties and give law enforcement more tools, including wiretaps, to dismantle these networks. 3D printers have a legitimate purpose. They can be taught to make prosthetics. I've seen this. They can teach math and science. There is a good. But they should not be producing deadly weapons in mass. And that's what's going to stop here. And there's another dangerous device as well that you can produce with a 3D printer. And it's easy to find online. I'm talking about these little Lego-sized switches. Switches that are used to convert handguns into machine guns, capable of firing 1,200 rounds a minute. Can you imagine what that could do to a neighborhood, or walking to a community center like this, or on a street corner? You can destroy a community, 1,200 rounds per minute. Now, some of these gun companies knowingly sell these convertible pistols to put profit over people's lives. You're not doing that in New York anymore. You are not going to get away with that. I'm advancing legislation that will require gun manufacturers to design their weapons, design their own weapons, so they cannot be modified into these illegal machine guns. We're putting that on you, gun manufacturers. We're telling you cannot do that here in New York. And they're on notice. The gun manufacturers are on notice. And I encourage them to work with us. Just like the tech companies had to work with us. A lot of people know we're going to do whatever it takes to protect our kids and our families and our communities. So you want to get around that, you got to get through us, and me in particular. So you'll not make a mockery of our gun laws. You'll not put people's lives in jeopardy just to increase your own profits. That's not happening. So I'm going to say this, my friends. We've come a long way to battle gun violence. And we're not done. And we're going to always stay steps ahead of the criminals. And we're never going to get complacent. We're going to take these 3D printed guns and do-it-yourself machine guns and go after them with the same force and focus that we've done in other areas of crime where we've had success. The retail thefts, the car thieves that are going after cars that are no longer able to do it, our gun traffickers. I'm going to leave no stone unturned in my quest to make this not the number 3 safest state, but the number 1 safest state in America, because that's who we are. And I want kids to be raised without anxiety and fear. So we'll get it done. Are you with me to get this done? Are you with me? Are you with me to get this done? We can do this, right? We can do this. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. And the leader of the effort that's going to help get this done is our executive director of Moms Demand Action. Come on up here, Angela Farrell-Zabala. Let's give her your attention, because she's got a powerful voice to listen to. Angela.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, and thank you so much, Governor Hochul. Really appreciate your leadership. I am Angela Farrell-Zabala. I'm the Executive Director of Moms Demand Action. And together with Students Demand Action in Every Town for Gun Safety, we're the largest grassroots movement working to end gun violence in America. And I'm especially proud to be here today. New York, especially under this administration, consistently leads the way in the fight to save lives and protect communities by passing some of the strongest gun safety laws in this nation. It was the first state to make it easier to hold bad actors in the gun industry accountable in court. And a law sponsored by Senator Myrie and Senator Fahy, both of whom are here with us today. Since then, 9 other states have followed New York's lead. That's the kind of vision and action that not only protects communities here, but also sets the standard for the entire country. From red flag laws to ghost guns to comprehensive background checks, disarming domestic abusers, New York is a model for what's possible when states embrace policies that we know save lives. And under Governor Hochul's leadership, we are seeing results of that commitment. Shootings have declined to historic lows, proving that real progress is possible when leaders act boldly and consistently. And now, once again, New York is leading with innovative solutions that meet today's emerging threats head on. And that's why we're here today. We're here to meet and beat a threat head on: the unchecked use of 3D printing technology to make illegal weapons and devices that can convert ordinary pistols into machine guns. Let me be clear about one thing. Machine guns are already illegal here in New York and many other states. But right now, some manufacturers are selling handguns that can be turned into fully automatic weapons with a tiny switch the size of a quarter. With one illegal part installed, one little tiny part installed, a pistol can fire at a rate of up to 1,200 rounds a minute. That's 20 rounds per second, y'all, 20 rounds per second. Think about that. That shouldn't be possible, and it doesn't have to be. This is not about targeting responsible gun owners. It's about taking guns away from people who already, it's not about taking guns away from people who already own them. This is about really getting and meeting the threat head on. This is about holding manufacturers to a basic safety standard, a basic standard. If a company wants to sell handguns in New York, those guns should be designed so they cannot be easily converted into illegal machine guns, period. The same principle applies to 3D printing of firearms. That's why New York's proposal is set clear safety standards, the clearest safety standards for 3D printers, and regulate that code that can be used. That's so important to do. Just like we expect products to meet consumer safety standards in other industries, we do this all the time, y'all, we should expect 3D printers to include safeguards that prevent the illegal printing of weapons and prohibited gun parts. Governor Hochul's proposal will require manufacturers to integrate available safeguards that can detect design files that are used to print illegal guns and stop those print jobs before they're even completed. Imagine that. That is smart, that is proactive, and that will save lives. New York has done this before, leading with bold, common sense solutions that other states later follow. And once again, the rest of the country is watching. So thank you so much, Governor Hochul, for your leadership, for continuing this legacy, and for showing the country what it looks like when a state takes gun violence prevention seriously. Because when New York leads, lives are saved, not just here, but across America. And make no mistake, we're going to keep showing up alongside you until every single community can be safe. Thank you so much. And with that, I'd love to welcome to the stage Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg.
Thank you so much, Angela, for your words. I'm fired up, but for the work that you're doing every day. And to all of you, Moms Demand Action, I see all the red shirts out there as well. I'm humbled to be here. And I want to thank the governor for her steadfast leadership across a whole spectrum of public safety issues, but particularly on guns. 3D printed guns are not just emerging, they're here. They are a real problem for us in law enforcement, and the proposals that you're setting forward now are going to, as you say, save lives. So thank you, thank you, thank you, Governor Hochul. In addition, of course, I want to thank our state superintendent and our other law enforcement partners, ATF, NYPD, Assemblymember Rosenthal, who's been working on ghost guns for the past several years, a great thought partner. And of course, the phenomenal district attorneys from across the state of New York who are doing these cases every day. The mayor and the governor already did the table setting I was going to do on the backdrop. I know the governor was in the city yesterday, New York City, and talking about the great numbers there. But I do think that is the starting point. And it's phenomenal to hear the numbers in Albany and the statewide numbers. And I'm humbled, so I'll just add the Manhattan numbers to that. Since I took office 4 years ago, shootings are down in Manhattan 66%. That's due to the funding that the governor has arranged. It's due to law reform. It's due to all the advocacy. It's all of our numbers together. And so I do think that's the backdrop. But as the governor said, we can't stand still. The proliferation of these cheap, I mean, we're talking a couple $100s to buy a 3D printer. And you can sit at your kitchen table, and just in the time that I've been in office, the time it takes, the technology is getting faster and faster. You can sit at your kitchen table, go do the dishes, do a couple other things, and you have a gun printed out. And so this is really something that we need to urgently address. The governor talked about the iron pipeline, and she called this the plastic pipeline. I've been calling it the kitchen table pipeline, because in our cases, people are literally just sitting in their kitchens and then printing out these lethal machines. So how's this going to help us? It's going to help us DAs in two ways. The first is enforcement, right? We have new tools if this passes, when this passes, to hold people accountable. And what I always like to emphasize to people is we use this term ghost, and it sounds, you said just with Casper the Ghost. These are real killing machines. So just to use one example from a case, we had someone who sat in their kitchen in Harlem, printed out a ghost gun, and then went to Central Park, a place of peace and games and fun, and test fired that ghost gun in Central Park. This bill becoming law gives us more tools to stop that. And the second piece, and this is equally if not more important, we heard it from a number of people say is prevention, right? On the front foot. If we can get the companies not to allow guns to be printed in the first place. I think about it in terms of counterfeit money, right? If all of us could go home right now and go to our printer and print out some C notes, and all become millionaires, we would say that's crazy, right? We can't allow that. This is even worse because this is printing something out that is killing someone. So that is what we're up against here. These companies, we started engaging with them in my office and when Assemblyman Rosenthal, earlier this year, last year, and talking to them and got some agreements about things that they would do to prevent these kind of printings. But those are voluntary discussions, from one office to a company using the bully pulpit, if you will. What the governor is proposing today is law, right? The difference between a call and say, will you please, won't you do this, this will save a life, versus saying, in the great state of New York, this will not be tolerated, this is the law. So thank you, Governor. I am so excited. I can't wait to come back and see you sign it and get one of those great pens, right? That will be a great day because it will be a day where lives are saved. With that, I mean, all that we do in the DAs, we all know this, right? We sit behind desks and draft search warrants and complaints. The women and men in uniform go out and put them in harm's way, and we're honored to work with the police department, NYPD, ATF, and of course, the state troopers. So with that, I'll give way and bring up the superintendent. Thank you to you and Governor. Thank you so much.
Good morning. Thank you, Governor, and thanks for the introduction, DA Bragg. Governor, you nailed it. There's not very much that I really can add to that sentiment and that point. You've driven the point home. So therefore, if you all indulge, I'll try to complement what you very astutely laid out. Certainly, I'm glad to be here. And as the governor continues to lead the nation on public safety. The proposals certainly announced, and that will be announced, they reflect a clear understanding of how gun violence is evolving, and they reinforce our commitment, all of us here today, from near and far. It reinforces the idea that we have to stay ahead of this emerging threat. Technology certainly can be our friend, but when used nefariously, we see what we could be up against. But we'll do this certainly while protecting the rights of responsible law enforcement gun owners. As the superintendent, I see firsthand how criminals exploit advanced technology, whether it's the use of drones in a nefarious way, the use of deep fakes. There's a lot that is out there that is used in various ways. But the rise of the 3D printers with regard to firearms and illegally modified weapons, that presents a serious challenge to law enforcement and certainly to the public alike. These weapons are often untraceable, they're increasingly accessible, and certainly they're extremely dangerous. And they put communities at risk and pose real threats to officers who are out there each and every day, and your families who are out there each and every day. Governor Hochul's proposals, they take a proactive, comprehensive approach to this issue. How? By strengthening the penalties related to the illegal manufacture and distribution of the 3D printed firearms and their components, mandating reporting of recovered 3D printed guns, and establishing safeguards to prevent the misuse of these emerging technologies. So New York is addressing the problem at its source, while improving our ability to track and respond to the ongoing threats. So the New York State Police were certainly prepared to play a central role in this effort. We continue to work closely with our law enforcement partners, prosecutors, and certainly our state agencies to monitor the trends, share intelligence, and to ensure that the laws are enforced effectively and responsibly. The proposals requiring firearms manufacturers to design pistols that cannot be easily modified into illegal machine guns is certainly another critical step. Devices that convert semi-automatic pistols into fully automatic weapons dramatically increase the risk of harm, and we're working on combating that. Because public safety is not static. As the threats evolve, our strategies and laws must and will evolve. Governor Hochul, your leadership, it endures. It enables New York State to remain a national model for addressing gun violence in a thoughtful, effective, and responsible way. So, on behalf of the 6,000 men and women of the New York State Police, I thank the Governor for her continued leadership and commitment for keeping New Yorkers safe, and we stand ready to fulfill this mission. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes our program. We are going to take some pictures right now, so if you could please remain seated. Advocates can remain on the stage. Thank you.